camera's not turned on. That's probably why. Actually.
There it is. Is that fucking Adam Sandler from Uncut Gems as your background?
Yes.
Why?
Because I spent, I don't know, 10 minutes trying to find a good Dana White meme, and just they don't crop well. So
See, you got that. You got that instead. Did you see his fucking not half-assed, passionate address to the people about Donald Trump? Did you see that yet?
No.
Oh
is it good?
God. It's classic. He's like, like it sounds like he's cutting a promo with Vince McMahon against Black Lives Matter protesters. Like, hey, come on, guys. I mean, come on. Like that kind of thing.
I mean,
this country is great for everybody.
Can we be surprised at all?
No.
And if there's any person who I 100% believe just thinks everything is great and gravy, is fucking Adam Sandler, who's been making ridiculous, stupid money off the worst movies that have ever been made for like 30 years.
I don't know what you're talking about, okay? Because some of those movies were slappers, okay?
He has 100 movies. I would say if I said 20 of those movies were slappers, that would still be 20% of those movies.
I just feel like everyone is not getting over that one where he dressed up as a woman, Jack and Jill, and everyone just won't forget about it because I haven't seen anything as bad as that
that's
movie.
A bad movie, but that's not even the worst movie of a comedian dressing up like a woman.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, it's no, Mrs. Doubtfire.
It's not.
But when you chase that dragon, you always fail, as demonstrated by everyone, except maybe Martin Lawrence, who did maybe the worst version of that, but still made ridiculous amounts of money.
Well, Big Mama's House was good. I like Big Mama's House. Even though it was like vaguely racist.
A third of Big Mama's House.
A third of it?
The rest of it is like, I don't know, man. I could just skip all this.
So is that third of the Big Mama's House the fucking song, I Got to Have It? Is it that part?
Like, have you seen... When's the last time you watched Blue Streak?
And they always make light skins. Oh, yeah! Fucking Blue Streak is great.
There's like moments of Blue Streak that are great, and then the rest of the movie's there. And like, I just wish I could watch like 20 minutes of this movie.
Yeah. I did fuck with Blue Streak heavily. But, I'm trying to find this fucking thing so I could play it. So you can just hear, like, his tone. Like, he's, like, cutting a promo for the UFC and against Black Lives Matter at the same time. It's great. This is Holly Holm doing the shuffle. That's not what I want. Who's cringier, Israel Adesanya or Holly Holm?
Probably Holly Holm, because she's probably MAGA.
Ooh, do you think?
I don't know for sure, but she has all of the ingredients.
She's got all the ingredients. Whites.
Right.
Can't dance.
Successful fighter.
This is a good segue into going towards Colby Covington, huh? I assume you have a very hot take for Tyron Woodley and Colby Covington, which is to be coming up, I think, next week. But we'll get there. I assume this is what the crux of this podcast will cover today. See or no? As you drink your first.
I don't know if my take is very hot.
It's not hot?
I feel like it's what everybody wants.
Yeah. Well, I know what's going to happen.
Everyone wants a hot mess.
Yeah.
In which Colby Covington loses. That's probably not how it's going to work.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen that way.
Which is going to be unfortunate.
Yeah, it's going to be very sad. I think... we'll just get into it now. I honestly think Tyron Woodley's going to get his face rearranged, and it's going to be very sad for everybody involved.
I mean, maybe. Like, I don't know if Colby Covington comes back with the same Colby Covington shit he's been doing for, the last 2 years.
What do you
like,
mean?
Does he adjust? Does he adjust his game plan and try to Well,
I mean, he was winning that fight until Usman broke his jaw, so.
Right, but if it's just about strength and having a one punch jaw breaking ability, I think Tyron Woodley qualifies.
Yeah, but he just hasn't fought that way at all. Like, he just doesn't look like he. And this is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping this is the fire, the flame that reignites under Tyron Woodley's ass, and he gets back into, taking his training seriously. Because a little birdie had told me. I'm not going to talk about the source, but I know somebody that fights under the same management company that he fights under, and while he was preparing for his fight for Usman, they said that he was making his album and not really training at all. So
you got some gossip, some goss.
So we know that album wasn't album of the year.
Yet it was not
dare we
Flames.
Say. It was not Flames. Was not Fuego. What we call it in the business. And he got held against the fence and beat up. And since then, that's all that's been happening to him. Gilbert Burns did it to him. Who's the other poor son of a bitch that did it to him too?
He hasn't won a
fight since
twice this. He's only fought like once this year, right?
Right.
And that was Gilbert Burns who beat the shit out of him, and
yeah,
Usman beat him in a decision. And that was the only time he fought last year.
So then,
and Darren Till, I guess choking out
Darren
Till was his last win.
Right.
I think part of this is like he hasn't gotten reps. He's fought twice in the past 2 years. It's gonna be his third fight.
Well, again, because a part of that is he's fucking doing everything else but fighting. So,
right.
So,
which is the right move to make. The problem is
it though? Because it's not like he got his brand bigger or.
I think he was taking risks, hoping like this thing would happen, and it turns out he's a whack rapper.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure he had friends telling him that.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the right people. When you have enough money, you can just make your own album, and that's the problem. When you can just buy your own studio time, you can't tell anybody anything.
Yeah. Can't tell me nothing. Shouts out to Kanye.
And there's like no point, to. Some people want to be fighters forever.
What the fuck? Am I frozen on your screen?
A little bit, yeah. Are you frozen on your own screen?
No,
now you're back.
I'm back now.
Some people don't want to be fighters forever.
Right.
Some people want to like use this transition to some other shit.
But let's create a business, or let's let's make some T-shirts. He tried
the past 2 years to do that, and it
failed. Hey, sir, you don't just buy an album and it's successful. That's just never how it's worked, unless you're Jay-Z, because that's what happened with Jay-Z. But you can't just.
Yeah, but it turned out Jay-Z was also a good rapper.
Yeah, it turned out that he had the actual rapping ability.
Right, like not everybody gets to do that.
Yeah, you can't just waltz all into the scene and just make an album and have.
He also, broke his hand when he was trying to fight Robbie Lawler last year. Like he's had a lot of speed bumps. This is like a huge question mark for him, but it's also a huge question mark for Colby Covington, in my opinion.
I don't think so. I feel like we're looking at bodies of work between him and Colby Covington. Colby's had the steadier body of work where he's consistently done the same thing every single time he's fought. Tyron Woodley went from arguably if there's a Rushmore for welterweights, you would put Tyron Woodley up there because he was like he was the dream killer, right? Like he was out there just cold cocking motherfuckers into another dimension, and then somewhere down the line, I guess people started figuring out how to, mitigate that launch shot that he has where he pushes off the gate and he falls up with that overhand right, and they figured out how to mitigate that shot, and he doesn't really do much wrestling past that unless you're trying to wrestle him, and it just seems like he just doesn't look interested in fighting anymore, and I hope this is the fight that gets that back. But when you look at Colby Covington, he's fought exactly the same way most of his career, and he's been successful doing it, so I can't say that based off his last performance.
He's been successful doing it, but he's been successful doing it against, I would say, a lower caliber of people for the past, up until, I think him beating Lawler was his biggest win. But he beat Dos Anjos by decision, which was kind of a surprise.
But he beat the shit out of Dos Anjos, though.
But he also beat Dong Hyun Kim, who people just beat. Yeah. It seems so far. For the past couple years, people just kind of beat him, which is no shade on him. He's got 22 wins or something like that. He's a good fighter, but he can't seem to put it together here. Right. And beat Damian Maia, who is he's like a style cipher. Like Damian Maia is very good against particular sorts of people, right. And Colby Covington is not one of those people.
Yeah. Right. But he stood toe to toe with Usman, who didn't even bother wrestling with him for 5 rounds.
Right. Which was a huge mistake on his part.
Right.
Because Usman just beat the shit out of him.
Right.
But like Max Griffin, yes, he beat Max Griffin. Of course he did.
Yeah.
I think maybe the most surprising fight that wasn't Lawler, in my opinion, was Munay back in 2016 or something like that.
Right.
But I feel like Woodley. People have been impressed by Woodley for as long as we've been talking about.
Right.
His disinterest in being that guy again is a huge factor, but I think also Colby Covington was riding a Chael Sonnen-esque wave where his character almost gave him the power to do these magical things in the ring, in my opinion. Right. But I think where even like Chael was finishing people, right. Colby wasn't.
Right.
And once the jig was up for Chael, the game was over.
Which is like one of the funniest takeaway. I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the things that he brought up talking to about Usman. He's like, you don't finish people, and he's like, nigga, you don't finish people. Like that's your whole career is like you haven't finished anybody. So this is strange. I feel that. All right, see, this is why Jared's here. Jared, he reels it in a little bit. He's like, hey, sir, maybe he's not the bee's knees. His words, not mine.
It's worth watching because I think they both have the same question and both need this win.
Right. And I think the presser leading up to this, or at least the social media leading up to this, is going to be so great.
Woodley already said, yesterday, that he's willing to take a point to just kick him in the dick.
Here we go, WWE! We're in for it.
I'm here for it. Yeah. Like, do I encourage fighters to do dirty things, illegal things in the sake of competition?
Right.
No. But am I going to watch it and not be mad at it? Yes.
All? Yeah. If he does some dirty shit, I mean, it's Colby, you know?
Like, if McGregor kicked Floyd Mayweather, would I be sad about it? No. Would he lose that fight? Yes.
I was actually
Did he lose it anyway without it? Yes.
I was just hoping that if he just started losing, he just, like, fucking Capoeira kicked his head off his shoulders. That would have been amazing. Yeah, so, I mean, that's about the same take that I have. I'm like, it's an interesting fight. This is probably the most interesting fight night that I've ever seen. I don't remember a lot of fight nights where I'm like, I definitely want to go see that because of the headliner on it. Like, the drama behind it. This is probably going to be the best fight night that we've ever seen.
It's weird that, like, this is a fight night.
Yeah, I feel like it could be a headliner. I feel like it could be a headliner for sure. Or at least a co-main or something. You know?
Yeah, co-main. I mean, but I guess there's a lot of belts to defend nowadays.
Yeah.
So if you want to, put respect on the belts' names, then you have to kind of make them main and co-main.
Well, these two gentlemen in particular are ranked super high, so I guess the assumption is I was gonna say the implications for what's gonna happen after that in the welterweight division is gonna be I'm assuming one of those two guys is gonna be in a main event for either number one contender position fight or a belt down the line, because Colby's last fight was for a championship and it was close until he got his face rearranged, and Woodley has been like number one, number two almost for 5 years straight. So the implications for this are going to be very high, and I'm into it.
I don't think anyone would mind a rematch between Covington and Usman, or to see what Woodley Usman looks like.
Yeah.
I think one of those is more interesting than the other, but
I think we're going to get the same thing if Woodley fights Usman again.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. I don't see what new... Because he was like, no, I was 100% in it. Well, but at the same time, basically, that's conflicting information. I guess if you were not 100% in it, you don't want everyone to know you were not 100% in it at the time. So
right.
Do you have any specific news that you wanted to cover going forward for mixed martial arts?
Did you see this Dana White pushing back against the...
Everyone?
I mean, against anything that resembles... like labor and being a decent
person?
Entrepreneur, and besides that, do you remember back in April when a report surfaced that a suit was filed against Dana White, or against some folks? Some people remained unnamed, but people assumed that one of those people were Dana White, that he was being extorted for a sex tape.
Dana White?
Yeah. And someone wanted $500,000 over it or something like that.
Oh, shit. That's a lot of money.
He wasn't named, but everyone kind of sleuthed and figured out it's probably Dana White.
Uh-huh.
Turns out, sometime, I think last week, that might have confirmed it was Dana White in the suit, because he has... made motions to dismiss it.
Who was he having sex with?
So let me see if I can find the original story. I can't really find the original story, but
Paige Van Sant,
according to
leave the UFC to go to the bare knuckle fighting championship.
According to Bloody Elbow,
oh god,
who quotes the Las Vegas Review Journal, the UFC President Dana White filed court papers seeking to dismiss a lawsuit that names him as a sex tape extortion victim.
Oh, Jesus.
The suit was filed in April by Ernesto Joshua Ramos. Ernesto Joshua Ramos was also arrested and is actually now, like, serving prison time. Mm-hmm. Or maybe recently served and is now out for extorting someone. So maybe he's not the most trustworthy name in this report, but neither here nor there. In this suit, in suit against White, Ramos, 43, claimed the promoter failed to pay him an agreed-upon $450,000 for not disclosing White's name in a now-closed sex tape case. Jesus. In his suit, Ramos also claimed that he did not demand money from White, which seems weird because this is a claim about demanding money. Instead, Ramos alleges that White's lawyers approached him during a criminal case and offered him a substantial amount of money to plead guilty and thus avoid a public trial which would reveal the names of the victims.
So it was probably a fighter.
That doesn't necessarily mean it could be anybody with a cell phone.
Ring girl.
Could be a prostitute.
Yeah, he's married. He's married, isn't he? Isn't Dana married?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's just like anybody. Shouts out to the kids.
Ramos was arrested in January 2015 and charged with trying to extort $200,000 from a businessman whose name was not disclosed by prosecutors. Yeah. Ramos agreed to a plea deal with prosecutors and received a sentence of 366 days in prison.
Can you switch that picture of Adam Sandler to Dana White making like what will now be a cum face, like him red faced yelling, like when he was yelling for Conor McGregor out in the Mayweather fight, the first one. That's gonna be his O face.
Mm-hmm. We all know that Conor McGregor, or that. Well, yes, we do definitely know that Conor McGregor is the only thing that gets Dana White off, but
yeah,
also anger. And being extorted, apparently. And,
these are all qualities that we expect out of our MAGA representatives. These are things that you need to be in order to be up in the echelons of the MAGA ladder. Angry white sex tape. Boom.
Boom.
That's it.
I like you dropped the boom. Like, that's
what you need. That's exactly what you need in order to be successful in the MAGA fields.
I'm kind of wanting to talk around John Jones moving to heavyweight, because that's become kind of a theme.
Is it solidified now, or is he still playing with it?
Still playing with it, but I think everyone is assuming that it has to be a go.
Is he going to go straight for the Stipe, or is he going for someone like a Fabricio Verdum? Or
I don't see why he wouldn't want to go for Stipe, because why waste time?
Right, because
Stipe's a bigger draw.
Right, unless it's Brock Lesnar.
Unless it's Brock Lesnar. He just wants to make the money and be the champion.
Yeah.
So it's up to Dana White to push back on that. I doubt Dana White would.
No. Especially because he's got cards to fill up for the next 6 months. So, and he didn't really take any damage in his last fight.
I'm sure there's plenty of heavyweights who would rather him wait in line. Some of them have already mentioned that they would rather him wait in line.
Right.
So it's up to, like, some of these other heavyweight fights might actually be really interesting too. Like, Ngannou Jones might be a fight worth watching.
Hey, John Jones, I know you're a fan of the show. Don't do that. Hey, whatever you do, there is a good amount of. I would take $15 million, sink or float, to fight Francis Ngannou, because I know it'll be over in the first 5 seconds. So, I just don't think your first foray into the field should be Francis Ngannou, huh?
Or, on the other hand, if you win that fight, you've probably won the belt by then.
Yeah,
I don't think Stipe is going to give you the same problem.
Right. Right. I think Stipe represents more of a problem wrestling, because I don't think he's got the same dynamic striking that he needs to overcome John Jones. But I think he's just like is going to be. I feel like it's a way better matchup. It's just a way better matchup. Like we saw what he did with Thiago Santos, and Thiago Santos was like swinging for the fucking fences, and he used to fight at 185. So, I just don't see how 260-pound Francis Ngannou just doesn't knock John Jones into another dimension.
I mean, he has to touch him first, clean, and I'm not sure he has the opportunity, because I don't think, like, John Jones has freakish wingspan and can throw strikes from any part of his body at any angle.
Yeah.
And will probably be on coke at the time. So, like...
You saying... Wow.
Listen, I don't put it past him.
You heard
at
it
the
here
very
first.
least.
You heard it here first. Charlie Sheen had tiger blood. John Jones has stripper and coke.
So,
he also has HIV.
Not everything is a great idea when it comes to
glitter. What is it? All that glitters is not gold. What is that? What it is? I think that's what it's called.
Something like that.
God damn it! Oh, shimmers. Maybe it's
I don't know. I'm not going to Google
shimmers is not
but
I'm not going to Google it. There's a poet, and he wrote that.
He wrote
I don't remember
that.
What it was.
I think.
Was not.
Yeah, the only other running parallel to this, the WWE seems to have cut all ties, branding wise, with Brock Lesnar, who is just floating around here now, and everyone's thinking that coming back and fighting could be a serious possibility.
Send him to Fight Island.
But rumor is he only really wants to fight one person, and that's John Jones.
Let's get it done.
Which sounds like money to me.
USADA, lose the samples again.
Listen,
let's get this done.
Find the same samples.
It's that time of year again where you lose the Brock Lesnar sample data.
I don't need Brock Lesnar samples. I just need this fight to happen.
Yeah.
Because
Brock Lesnar's 40 years
it's
old.
a draw. Brock Lesnar's one of the highest drawing fighters in UFC history. B, I don't know that it's been a long time since I watched a Brock Lesnar fight I wanted to watch, but I've seen them all. So
yeah,
I feel like everyone feels this way. We're going to watch this fight. I don't think Brock Lesnar has a chance in hell.
I don't think so, but what if he comes absolutely steroid fiended the fuck up, and he'll piss hot after like they did the first time when he fought Mark Hunt.
Excuse me?
Like he walked in, he's on every steroid known to man, and everyone's like, Meh. And then they fought, and they're like, oh, Mark, you were correct. He was on every steroid known to man, and then Brock Lesnar's already laughing to the bank. Like, he factors this into his he's like, listen, I need more than $2 million, because you're going to take $500,000 of it for me taking steroids. I feel
like this is the fight that, I don't know what John Jones asked for, 6 months ago, where there was reports where he just walked out and decided he was just going to retire, or he threatened to retire because he wasn't getting what he was looking for. I don't know what he asked for there, but I think this is what he'll get. This is how he'll get that, because this is guaranteed money. If Brock Lesnar has a good first round, people are here now. All he has to do is throw John Jones out over the cage once.
What if he just fucking grips him up and just doesn't let go and smashes him to death? What happens?
That's all we need.
Is he the greatest heavyweight all time?
No, but but it's easily a number 2. Because now I need to see it again, and now it's more money.
Right. Run it back.
But B, it's it's the most surprising outcome probably in UFC history, because everyone knows Brock Lesnar's hands were suspect. And the only reason why he beat Mark Hunt, because Mark Hunt's hands are also suspect, and his head is no longer too thick to just bounce off incoming blows. He's old. He can't do that shit anymore.
Right. If that was early Mark Hunt, Brock
it would have been
knocked
done
out within the first minute.
If it was 2001 Mark Hunt, it would have been over.
Yeah. You remember what Alistair Overeem did to that poor man? Well, he's also Ubereem at the time.
He was eating horse meat at the time.
Yeah. The Canelo
tacos.
Yeah,
300 pounds of just steroid muscle at the time.
Shouts out to fucking Overeem shelling that poor dude that I've never seen fight before in my entire life and rearranging his face on the floor. Since he's been in Elevation Fight Team, he's completely changed his game. And shouts out to those guys, fucking Elliot Marshall, all those guys over there. Who would have thunk it at age 40 we'd see Ubereem do a complete 180 and now he's the ground and pound guy. That's 2 fights back to back with TKOs on the floor.
He's got the size for it. I'm surprised it took him this long to transition.
Because I guess his camp was more fixated on him kickboxing because that's what he was really good at. Versus him going to Elevation Fight Team, all right, you're gonna wrestle. That's where Curtis Blades trains out of. His last 2 fights have almost been like Curtis Blades fights, or they've been almost identical. That's how he does. He does an interesting trip to the floor, and we've been seeing. I mean, I don't know. I can't really comment on. I haven't seen a lot of Overeem's fights past a certain point, but I can't really comment on his grappling. But his grappling looks fucking good. He was tripping these giant behemoths of men and getting them on the floor and putting them in bad positions and killing them.
It's good that someone, 10 years into his UFC career figured out, bro, maybe you should just stop standing with, these people who are 10 years younger than you. He wants that Rosenstruck fight back, which pounds. I would watch.
That's an interesting fight because Rosenstruck murder JDS.
Murdered him too. I mean, not really murder.
Yeah.
It was like at the very end of the very last round. But
he was losing. He lost that fight pretty badly until he exploded his face at the end of it.
Which is all anyone remembers. Oddly.
Yeah, that's all you need to remember, because that's what happened. He fucking exploded his face in the last 5 seconds of the match. Unbelievable.
And Overeem going full circle back to Lesnar, who just absolutely starched that man.
Oh yeah.
It was like, I don't like. Why are you asking me about Brock Lesnar? I don't care about Brock Lesnar. He's not. They just completely destroyed him. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the future, if the future is probably short, but also pretty bright for a John Jones berth in heavyweight.
We have a good year of fights coming up. We don't know what's going to happen after that. We also don't know if we're going to make it past into 2021 as a species.
We're speeding on the highway to absolute oblivion. So,
shouts out to California, completely engulfed in flames.
In literal hellfire.
Literal hellfire. Wasn't there like 2 hurricanes that hit like Texas at the same time?
One it was like 2 tropical storms went in like towards the same direction, and people are like, this could be a situation where both hit the same part of like Georgia at the same time, but instead they went different directions like last minute.
Oh, thank
so it could have been absolute chaos. Colorado was on fire yesterday until it snowed. So people are like, I don't know anymore.
There's still people holding out like, no, we're not affecting global warming at all. It's not real. Climate change isn't real. It's like, all right.
San Francisco looks like fucking Silent Hill right now.
Oh yeah, it's scary. The fucking as soon as you start hearing the hellhounds in fucking round 1, round 2 of Nazi zombies, then you'll know.
It's that kind of energy.
It's horrifying.
When it's dark and red at like.
Meanwhile, New Jersey's been pretty chill.
Yeah,
this whole time.
That's because we don't have forest fires, which isn't true. The Pine Barrens burned down a lot last year. We do these things sometimes, just not so much because we're not that bad.
Yeah,
it rains. Yeah, it definitely rains here more often.
Yeah.
But if you don't get consumed by literal hell like Doom, maybe we'll have a pretty good year of fights in 2021.
Yeah.
There's also a concept I keep hearing, something I hate, but keeps coming back, is that there might be
something Jared hates. Are we surprised?
Another BMF fight.
Oh,
and I fucking hate it.
Nick Diaz?
So Diaz is coming back.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Dana White's being very coy about that. But
he's in shape. He looks like he's in shape.
He does. But Masvidal, there's been a lot of rumor around Masvidal's next fight and how that might somehow be pulled into like a fucking BMF fight with maybe like Edwards or someone. Like, I don't know why anyone would ever think Leon Edwards is a bad motherfucker. Like, I don't get it.
Well, I was treating yeah, Leon Edwards is not a bad. I don't understand that at all. How could you not give and this is the tangent I'm about to go on. How could you not? Usman beat you, right? Short notice fight. Jorge Masvidal fucking gave it his 110% effort. I don't think it would be different if he had a fucking a fight camp, but that's just my opinion. It was close. Jorge was dangerous throughout the whole fight, but Usman handled the fight. I personally believe if you want me to respect that belt, you need to give it up. Because he didn't give that belt up to Kamaru Usman for winning that fight, I don't respect it, because you lost. That belt is given to the person who fights that person and wins. That's how belts work in my brain.
The thing is, this isn't like a division. This is just some bullshit, which is why it always sucked.
I was considering it like what the fuck is the belt called? Like an interim belt. That's what I considered it like. I'm like, well, this can function like an interim belt. Whoever holds this belt, maybe he's got a shot at the contender, because that's basically what happened. Jorge held out. He was offered a couple fights. He held out in the hopes that somebody was going to fall out to fight Usman, which is a high possibility. And I thought he was going to use that leverage. On top of it just being like a marketing chip, I was holding it to the esteem that this was going to be like a contender belt. But that's not the case. It's just a fucking marketing chip.
That's where you fucked up, my friend.
So now I don't.
Because it was always a marketing chip.
Up.
This is like when Ted DiBiase made his own belt because he wasn't going to get the other one. And
everyone should just
he just carried it around and was like, I'm the real champion. But that's bullshit. He's not the real champion, and neither is Jorge Masvidal, who fought a good fight and lost, and now just has a belt that says he's a bad motherfucker, which means nothing when you don't have when you're not the champion of your weight division. To me, anyway. Yeah. It means something to Nick Diaz and Nate Diaz. That's it.
And all the people that live in Miami.
Those are the only people that give a fuck. And the street fighters that you organize inside of somebody's front lawn in Tampa, like they all give a fuck about that. And dudes who are gonna buy the T-shirt on your next fight or whatever. Yeah. As far as like where this puts you in the actual competitive sport of UFC's version of MMA, I don't give a fuck at all.
I'd be interested to see Jorge fight Colby. I think that would be a good fight. For the BMF.
I think it'd be a good fight, period, because Colby can be like mad racist again.
To Spanish people. He's gonna flip everything on everyone's head because Cubans are like, but we like MAGA! No!
Colby doesn't know if he's Cuban or not. He's just like, I don't know, you're brown.
Build the wall. He's like, I'm Cuban. Build the wall.
You can't build a wall. The ocean doesn't work.
Oh God. Shouts out to God.
Sure.
For holding it
down.
California fires.
I don't think there's any other like pressing as MMA news.
Paige Van Zandt's a bare knuckle boxer now.
So I hear. I wonder if she got the bag for that.
Oh, I mean, like, I would assume so. Because it wouldn't make sense to leave the UFC to get paid to get triangle choked. And then, they're your moose ears.
My moose ears are white girl fingers.
That's exactly what they are. They've always been that. Sounds about white. Paige, it wouldn't make sense for me through a business standpoint to go to a sport where you're going to get violently maimed for less money than you were making. Because they gave Artem 6 figures and he was like 14 and 15. He went in there, you know what I mean? So,
but Artem I can only imagine like the kind of goon that would succeed there.
Yeah. Which was what we saw. When they dropped his hands in fucking 30 inches of fucking hand wraps. They're like, alright, I found a loophole. There's no rule for how much material you can actually put on your wrist.
As long as it's not a glove, yeah.
Yeah. But essentially was a glove without the knuckles. It was a knuckleless glove. Yeah, I don't see. But my hot take is that Paige is going to get fucking violently maimed. There's not a ton of talent as far as boxing ability goes in the bare knuckle fighting league, but all of the talent, all of the technical talent, all of the good talent that I've seen has been in that weight class for women. So I think they're gonna fuck her up. Things that jump out to me about Paige Van Zandt isn't her boxing ability. It's her ability to be tough and she's fairly athletic and she's able to.
She's got a good sprawl. Like up. She's a mixed martial artist. Like
right. I've never seen a world, class striking clinic out of her. Like some of those women in there are pretty good boxers. Like they're already like professional boxers to begin with. So I just don't see how making that jump, kudos to her. Like she's putting her money where her mouth is. She's like, I want to be in a tough sport, and this is one of the toughest sports you can do. But I think I think maybe there's a little bit of cockiness involved with this decision. I think she thinks she's going to go out there and outmatch her, a lot in the same ways like how Paulie Malignaggi did too. He's like, I'm just going to use my straight up boxing ability to go out there. But that boxing ability doesn't mean shit when you're getting clinched the fuck up and there's sneaking elbows and knees in there.
Yeah, and you're getting hit with things that are surface area of the size of a knuckle. Like it's not boxing gloves anymore. You can't defend the same way. And like you said, I don't know if it's. I think cockiness is one thing, but it could just be she wants a challenge. That she wants to be. She's not done with this fighter shit. And
wouldn't you argue though that challenge existed already and she didn't?
Maybe
do it?
I think that sport is a particular sport that requires a particular set of skills. Maybe she doesn't have them, or maybe she doesn't want to develop them, or maybe pressure from Dana White and the UFCs to make her some sort to play into an image, do all this press stuff. Like there's a lot of character making in the UFC that also is something a lot of people don't want to do. Her relationship with Dana couldn't have been good at that point. So the only way for her to move in a good direction is just to beat all the people in front of her, which is probably not going to happen.
Not in that division.
So, and at the top of basically every women's division is an absolute killer that she couldn't beat. So she wasn't going to gain 10 pounds or 20 pounds and fight fucking Amanda Nunes, because that's not going to happen. She's not going to beat Bull Valentina. So, like, at this point, maybe it is, like, go fight somewhere else. I'm surprised it wasn't, like, a move to Bellator. Which makes me think that if she was moving to Bellator, I would think, all right, now she just wants to starch people. She just wants to win.
Well, here's the thing. There are some women there, like that girl who's an absolute smoke show, Valerie Lareda. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a match made in fucking heaven. As far if you're a promoter, two of the bad, those are Valerie. I really think Valerie can go to the UFC and fight in the UFC. Just her actual athletic ability, her actual skill level. Like, I think if Paige made the jump to Bellator, I think she could have been, maybe arguably a bigger superstar because of what she would be able to accomplish there with lower level people. But there's enough good people up there to make good matchmaking where she would be able to, headline events. I feel like she could have headlined at Bellator, but maybe she'll be able to headline here. But no one's really beating down the hatches to fucking buy bare knuckle boxing.
But if she starts winning, then maybe they will.
Maybe they will.
Like,
that's true.
If the idea is that she is going to be the centerpiece of a promotion and become one of the faces of it, why not go to something like bare knuckle fighting? Because they don't really have too many faces there. Like, too many people that that are mainstream. And not that Paige VanZant is mainstream, but she does have like 4 million followers in Instagram or whatever. So she might be mainstream.
They did sign. You don't be disrespectful to the dude that was from Iran, the Iranian Hulk, okay? Because they signed him. And he's waiting for his fight, okay? So I don't want to hear that they don't have superstars because they have Iranian Hulk.
This is true. That place is a circus. And I think it'll never not be, but I think this is an opportunity to bring, I don't want to say legitimacy, because I don't know that bringing Paige VanZant brings legitimacy. But it does bring names, it brings faces, and this is the first time that they've lot.
She's got like 1 million people or something on Instagram,
right?
I think, right? Something close to that.
If she can get winning and start doing the press stuff that she was doing for UFC or something like that, I feel like the returns at the very least are plus. Like, I don't think anyone's going even at this if she's successful here.
Yeah, I think if she gets tattered up, like, I still
if she comes out all fucked up, but it was like, I was a warrior, I was like, blah blah blah. The headlines next day, New York Post is gonna be like, look at this hot chick, she got fucked up. And then there'll be a picture of her in bikini.
36 stitches all over her face. I am irreversibly damaged. She had to get $100,000 done in plastic surgery to get everything back to normal. She's going to take some damage there. I applaud her because that's a hard jump, but there's still a part of me that thinks she's just going to overpower some of these girls here because of her athletic
maybe some agent put that in her ear, but I feel like it's hard to look at that and be like, and think you're just going to ruck it and steamroll. Like, that's a Paulie Malignaggi like mentality, because
that's what he did though. That's exactly what he did. He's like, I'm a world champion boxer.
That's the thing though. He's a world champion boxer. He comes from very tough boxing places. Like, he knows the adage that like a legit boxer is probably a better striker than most non-legit anything else in any other combat sport. But it just so turns out he's wrong.
Right. He was even right because, like, on the scorecard he technically won, I guess. True. But he got beat up so bad it didn't matter. They just didn't care. They just didn't give a shit. Because he was throwing 1,000 jabs, but Arda was slicing his face open with wild hooks.
I can't believe that Paige VanZant thinks she is at that level for women, because there are better boxers in her division in MMA and UFC, and she's met some of them. So I have a hard time believing she thinks she's there. I think she wants to challenge, but B, this is an opportunity to be the face of a combat sport league that needs one. And they probably gave her the bag.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they definitely paid her 6 figures for there. Because you don't go from 6-figure talk with Dana, who was like, win a fight and I'll give it to you, and she's like, no.
And then you're not allowed to have your sponsors when you fight, and she can get whatever sponsor she wants at this point because she's got the follower count.
Right.
So she can walk in with a bunch of shit on her trunks and drink a fucking energy drink with a hat on and make $3 million probably before her purse, and then if she wins and gets a winner's purse, it's gravy. So I applaud the decision.
I applaud it too. I'm here for the violence. At the end of the day, this is what we're here for, right? Speaking of women fighting, headlining the main card on Saturday. Angela Hill and Michelle Waterson. I am absolutely psyched that they are catapulting Angela Hill to the fucking very top because she got robbed in her last fight, I believe, because she beat the fuck out of that woman. Like, badly. It wasn't even close. That was just a really bad call. But on top of them giving Angela Hill marketing opportunities by, promoting her shit on Instagram and, giving her good spotlight, they have her even doing commentary and analyst work. They're fucking putting Angela Hill out there, and I'm so glad that they're putting somebody like Angela Hill out there who is, like, unapologetically black, but at the same time super knowledgeable about the sport. Oh, and she's a great fighter, and she's a rising star, and I can honestly see her being a fucking champion at the strawweight division based on what she was able to do. And I don't think she's been really training for that long. I think she, like, picked up MMA as, like, a class, and then she's like, oh, I'm good at this, and it's just, like, killing people.
I think, first of all, Angela Hill is kind of an old fighter. She's been fighting since 2014, but I guess she had she was a kickboxer before, so she had been fighting since like 2011. So she's been fighting 10 years now, give or take, and 35 is like the time where you have to have done something or do something. And it's interesting to see because you don't see the UFC or really any MMA promotion decide to get behind someone that old, quote unquote. Usually you already have to have a name or have a stated like demonstrated value outside of this before you come in. Like Michelle Waterson was like kind of like I want to say legend is probably too hard of a word, but she was a well-known kickboxer, and made sort of a whole character around being this hot mom that'll kill you before she came to the UFC.
Right.
Angela Hill had none of that really when she walked into the UFC.
Yeah. She's just kind of
nerdy. She just has a really good. She's a really good Twitter, and she's won a couple. She hasn't even like strung together a whole lot of wins necessarily. Like, I mean, her longest streak was the most recent one, like through the end of last year and up to now. Otherwise, she was like kind of, trading them off win loss for a couple years there, and
she's 12-8.
Yeah, so she's not like the perfect fighter, but she is such a character. She's difficult to not like. She comes to like weigh-ins and cosplay. She's great on the mic. It turns out. Put a mic in front of her for any reason, and you're good for 5 minutes at least.
Well, I'm going to give her a little bit of slack for 12-8 because she is literally in the most difficult division for women. Like, strawweight, like
she is, and some of her losses are not
15.
Not to no one. Like
right. Like strawweight is the top 15. Like any one of those people can upset the next person up in the top 5. Like that's how it's been for like the last, I don't know, since Joanna's been here. Like Joanna has like completely changed the way that people fight in that division, and brings in a level of intensity that encourages everyone to go out there. She was like unbeaten for so long at the top that they were getting all these people. So like, is it like below Angela to fall in that mix? No, because it's difficult. It's difficult to climb up that ladder when everyone like Michelle Waterson even. Michelle Waterson's an absolute fucking monster in that division too. It's just the people that she gets beat are like top 5 people. Like same thing that Paige Van Sant was finding. They would crack that mold top 5, and then they would get washed out because that cycling top 5 is usually like the craziest motherfuckers available.
And I'll say for her, she normally was getting. She was getting beat by decision by people who were about to go get beat by a top 5er. So she was like not a gatekeeper, but she was there. Like I would say the entire top 10 of the strawweight division at any point any of them could be a star. Like she lost to like the Jessica Andrade that would then fight for the strawweight belt the first time against Joanna, who was just throwing people around before she realized she could probably get smaller and do this and just do it harder to other people. So yeah, respect to Angela Hill's ability, and she definitely beat Claudia Ganadia like a lot, like a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, she fucked her up,
but
it was bad. If you didn't see that fight, go back and watch that fight. It wasn't even close.
But
there might have been some moments where Claudia was able to do something, but largely it was her getting trampled upon. She was
I can see where someone could like make an argument that Claudia wasn't completely just demolished, but like she wasn't. Yeah, she didn't win that fight.
She didn't win that fight. You look at their faces after too. It's just like
Angela's like good.
Fucking eyes swollen shut. Yeah, Angela's fine. She's like, I can go another 8 rounds.
But she needs this fight because I think this is the opportunity for her to be the star that I think everyone thinks she can be. Even if this means she wins this fight, she gets a contendership fight that she wins, she gets a title fight and loses. She's already there. Like, if the UFC can do anything, or fighting at a high level can do anything, it's what most fighters discover about themselves after they get to the top, is that they have a brand now that they can kind of, permeate other places. She's kind of already done that, or is doing that right now. Like, I can't imagine a person who's now on the cover or on the poster for UFC whatever 260 or 265 fighting for a belt, doing pressers for championship fights, talking across from some of the best fighters we've ever seen in the division, and gets that kind of exposure, gets to go on ESPN shows, show her face, and then in between is still doing like Invicta or UFC like commentary or whatever. They can do with her what they're trying to do with Megan Anderson. Not that it's not working for Megan Anderson, but I think it's like a natural progression for Angela Hill.
Yeah. And Amanda's fighting Megan Anderson.
Yeah, it's going to be unfortunate.
Yeah, that's going to be real horrible. That's not going to be a
Anderson was killing Invicta 145ers for a long time and has not found that same sort of momentum in the UFC, and against maybe the greatest of all time is going to be a problem for her, I think.
Yeah, that's a big jump.
But there's also nobody else for Amanda to fight, so...
Yeah, I mean, kudos for Megan for going out there. And hey, you know what? She might go out there and shock the world and explode her eye with her toe like she did that other
She
poor
maybe
woman.
did. So and whatever happened, this is an opportunity for her to redeem herself for whatever happened when she suddenly had to drop out against Cyborg and no one knows why. So, everyone should watch the fight. I just don't know that it's going to be the fight you want to see. You're a Megan Anderson fan.
Not going to be a fun time
for Meg.
Not sure
it's going to be for you.
Meg, I love you. Smoking hot. Love the tattoos. The accent.
You're 6 foot whatever. You have the reach, but it's not going to be a problem, I think.
It's going to be a problem. Out for you, I don't think. Yeah, I think she's going to feel that. We're going to see. You know what? I don't wish any ill will on anyone, but I also love Amanda Nunes, and I hope she always wins no matter what.
I don't think nobody wants to see a one-sided fight. That's not true. I do want to see Tyron Woodley just pick up and power Colby Covington through the mat. But
yeah,
I don't think anyone, in a real, like, what I would feel is like a real competition, like purity of the sport kind of bullshit. Like, nobody wants to see this fight go just one way for no reason. I would rather see Amanda win a difficult fight than just start someone in the first round. I just don't know that I've seen someone who can do that to her. That doesn't mean that couldn't be. Maybe Megan and Scott. Maybe she got dialed in. Maybe she's downloaded her. I don't know.
Right. Also on that same card, I want to give a shout out to our girl Julia Avila, who is fighting Sarajara Eubanks. Typically I don't pick a side, but I'm picking a side with Julia because Sajaria fucking curved me and told me to go to her fucking management to get a fucking interview, and look at you now, pal. And we got Julia, and Julia's out there, and she's killing people, right? I'll say it. I don't care that you live in fucking New Jersey. You can probably fuck me up. Whatever, Saijara. Fucking Betch Correra beat you. I'm sure I can beat Betch. What's up?
She's got one more fight, right?
Like
Betch is retiring soon.
Correra? It's been a long journey for Betch. You think they're gonna give her the send off like they're gonna give DC?
Well, I think that's happening, right? Like, isn't she getting like fight in December and it's like her last fight or something like that?
Is she getting like a main event?
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I think they should. They should give it to her. She's earned it.
Has she?
No, she hasn't. You shouldn't even give her the last fight. They should be like, you don't show up.
You're good.
No call, no show. We'll pay you $5,000 not to show up.
Oh yeah, Betch Carrera announced retirement bout set for December 5. I'm glad that she knows it's her retirement before it happens. She's put it out there, so now like she doesn't win this fight, and then it's like maybe I got it in me. No, she just wants one more go. Do you know she's only a blue belt in jiu-jitsu? I had no idea.
That's wild. Shouts out to Mackenzie Dern fighting at the co-main under Colby and Tyron Woodley, fighting Randa Marcos, who was also equally attractive.
Shout out to Mackenzie Dern getting a co-main event for some reason. Not a title fight.
BJPen.com's reporting UFC standout Mackenzie Dern shares post-training pics at the beach.
Oh, that's why.
Back in her shit.
That's why she's
there. Back at it again at Krispy Kreme. Dustin Poirier is no longer expected to fight Tony Ferguson at 254. He's saying it's not happening.
Did you say why?
Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and go check that out. Highly anticipated fight between him and... UFC and I didn't come to terms, so they don't want to pay him the amount of money that he deserves, I guess, or thinks he deserves. He says, I'm a prize fighter, and the prize needs to be right. Not wrong. If I'm fighting Tony Ferguson, there's no amount of money you can pay me to fight Tony Ferguson, to be honest with you. So, I'll fight Tony, give me $2 million. because he shaves years off of people's lives.
Yeah, if I have to die, at least, give me the bag before I die.
Yeah,
against Tony fucking Ferguson.
Named. Yeah. My face all cut up and my ankles are ripped apart. So that is some recent news. Is there any other UFC news? Leon Edwards responds to Chael Sutton's criticism. I don't want to act like a clown.
Fair.
The nicest motherfucker called out Leon Edwards. And if you don't know who the nicest motherfucker is, that is Stephen Thompson.
Sweet. Yeah, there should be a good boy belt.
A good boy
Who's
belt?
The goodest
a good boy belt? Who's the goodest boy? Bang Bro bumped Baroni because bare knuckle badass won't return calls. I don't know what that means.
Sounds terrible.
So we'll skip over that. It does sound terrible. It sounds like a gay fight at a gay bar. That's what it sounds like.
That could be a good fight, though.
I would much rather watch that whenever I just fucking read. We've heard nothing from Connor. Oh, Dominic Reyes. I forgot you were alive. Oh, he's on Twitch. I'm glad you're on Twitch, bud. Let's see. Roxanne Modafferi. Doing Roxanne Modafferi things. Also curving us and not doing interviews. And then look at your career. I'm just saying, there's a pattern here. If you fucking reject this podcast, you don't do an interview. I'm not saying your career goes to shit, but hey, so far that seems to be the case. So far that seems to be happening.
These fighters are taking the advice of their management, letting them make the decisions, because the management's supposed to be smart. Yeah. So I wouldn't blame it on Roxanne. I blame it on her management. No, her management should know better.
It is Roxanne's fault. She said, "Fuck you, I don't do work with black people." And those are her words, not mine.
She looks racist.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it out there.
She looks like she's on 4chan saying the N-word a lot.
She's on our Paul. She's just got opinions about these thugs. The protests have gone too far.
The protests have gone too far. Stop looting. Shoot the looters. When the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Though to be fair, her opponent, Andrea Lee, looks a little bit more like she's pro shoot the looters. If I had to pick one.
Yeah, she has a cowboy hat and
right. So, guys, maybe fighters are racist.
Yeah, all of them. Are any of you surprised when some racist shit happens?
No one should be surprised.
Or some crazy fighter shit happens.
People tried to come for Gina Carano a couple weeks ago because she was she's revealed as an anti-masker. Fucking duh.
What's an
surprise.
Oh, she doesn't want people.
Or she thinks masks are not only are the masks just wrong and don't actually help, but they're also maybe a representation of a silencing the government's trying to instill in people. Which both are dumb opinions. But are we surprised that fighters have dumb opinions? No. I think people need to be a bit more aware of these people and who they hang out with and where they get their education from. Most fighters are conservatives, and a lot of them believe in alternative ways to live, both medicinally and otherwise.
Look at the fucking fan bases of these people. They're all tap out. They used to be wearing tap out, fucking spike hair, yelling people. That's all they were. Angry dads.
Not leftists. I promise you.
Yeah.
If you go to any of those gyms, you're gonna find a lot of less famous, less good not leftists there too. Like, these are just the communities that they cultivate. So I understand.
You'll have to go to like a 10th Planet or something, or Edo Portal to find these guys who are leftists and fighters
who are famous. Like, and then they're out there, but like, let's stop being like Gina Carano hasn't been a fighter since 2003, maybe. But that doesn't mean she wasn't one. Like,
I'm surprised there's not like photos surfacing of Donald Cerrone burning fucking crosses on people's lawn. I'm waiting for the day where he's in blackface.
Like, oh no.
yeah, like I'm not surprised, but
I'm surprised that it's taken. That if it hasn't happened yet, then it probably hasn't happened, and that's surprising to me.
Yeah, that's more surprising.
Because if I had to pick one,
if I had to pick a guy out of the hat, it might have been Donald Cerrone.
Him or like Chuck. It's got to just look like him, which isn't fair to them necessarily.
Yeah,
but
Tito Ortiz. How's Tito Ortiz doing? Let's go check on him real quick. I know he was running for like public office. Did he get it? Yeah. Oh yeah, he was in California. Tito or
man, if you vote for Tito Ortiz for anything, you fucked up.
Yeah, there's a picture of people playing soccer. I don't even know he likes soccer. That's more surprising than anything he's ever said.
He likes soccer.
Yeah, he likes soccer. Didn't think that was a thing that he would like. Oh, this might not be the same Tito Ortiz. This is a different Tito Ortiz, I think. Oh, this is just like a footballer. This is a soccer player named Tito Ortiz. I just clicked on it because it was it had a check mark. Is he unverified on Instagram? No, there's no way.
No, Tito Ortiz is verified. He's Tito Ortiz 1999.
There he is. I found him. Okay.
I rise because I continue to hear references to what I saw in growing up in this country and growing up in the state of Tennessee as I walked with my father and worked with my father.
This is on his page for his post? This is 12 minutes. We're not watching this.
I think he's got a post advertising a Trump boat parade.
Trump boat parade?
Over Washington.
Yes.
Because those have worked out real well so far. He's a team
Remember
punishment
all of the
boat.
Black Democrats? Yeah,
bombshell new reports, up to 90% of positive COVID-19 tests in multiple states in our country should have been negative. And before Facebook censors
What's
this video,
tipping point? Is that an all alt-right
thing? I think it's one of those, not turning point, but like that same sort of like righty-ass, real news-ass website.
Yeah. He loves the Hodge twins.
Those dudes who were like YouTube fitness dudes, and then like had like a real hard heel turn in like 2015.
Yeah, because there was money
and they're
in
like,
it.
we hate trans people, and actually anybody who's gay, and actually anyone who's liberal. And we're like, this has been a weird 2015 for you two, bro. I thought you were just here to eat clean and lift, but I guess not.
Yeah, what happened? You guys were the funny...
You guys found a whiteboard and got weird.
They have comedians in their title, and there's like I've literally never seen them do anything funny. Like, I'm not even saying like that to be mean. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying they don't do they don't do anything funny. So why is comedians in the title?
I don't know. I think they just laugh at
unless this is all a satire and they're genius.
And if only one person's laughing, then you're still a comedian technically, maybe.
Yeah. This lady just has giant tits, a lot of Trump flags.
Which sounds like a Tito Ortiz post.
Yeah.
If I had to make a Tito Ortiz post, that's kind of what it would look like.
It. Tito Ortiz pretending to be cool with soldiers. So Huntington Beach. Vote Tito Ortiz, Huntington Beach City Council. That was 1 week ago.
Absolutely not. Listen, I don't live there. Maybe they need him, but I doubt.
Maybe they do need him.
I just really doubt it.
If Tito Ortiz is running, then they need something.
Yeah, they needed it. They needed it far before we found out.
Right. That's wild. God, I had no opinion on Tito Ortiz, and I hope he dies. What else? Is there anything else?
Probably, but probably not very significant.
Nothing significant. We're gonna do another one. I want to do one for Costa and Izzy.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be a good old throwdown, good old American throwdown, as Tito Ortiz would want.
As Tito Ortiz and Trump would want.
This is a Tito Ortiz Trump show now.
Oh, good.
I would love to interview him.
I feel like Tito. There's like a not zero chance that Tito Ortiz would come to the show and be interviewed.
Yeah, I think he would do it, but I think he'd be very upset. Yes. And I think he would.
I think he would definitely not listen to any other episodes either, so he'd have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Right. He'd just go in there raw.
And I'll be like, "Hey, Tito, I was wondering how you felt about Black Lives Matter." First question.
Tito, I heard you actually created the coronavirus. Can you
describe to me how that process works? Do you have a lab in your home in Huntington Beach, or is that something you outsource?
Tito, can you count to 30? starting now.
How many fingers am I holding up, Tito?
How many fingers am I holding up, Tito? Tito, what is the Pythagorean theorem? I'm just gonna ask him a bunch of like really basic, like it's, you know what it's gonna be. We're gonna do Are You Smarter Than an Eighth Grader? That one show that they had. That's what we're gonna do with Tito instead.
Okay, I can play that game.
We can definitely do that.
I can be what's the redneck dude's name who hosts it?
Oh, I know who you're talking. Jeff Foxworthy. I love that guy.
I can work on the Jeff Foxworthy impression for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah? Is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna practice that in the mirror?
Give me a date. I'll get you one by then.
You might be a redneck. There you go.
Sure.
That's all you need.
Yeah, I'm just gonna play clips of him on
talking.
YouTube.
Yeah. I would love to do like a Borat style ambush on Tito Ortiz. just to completely catch him off guard. He thinks he's talking to some person of esteem.
I feel like he would be a person that would get caught up in like a Borat-ass scheme.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. He's the... they shot Borat 2, would not be surprised if Tito Ortiz
is in it.
Yeah. It's been filmed and screened. Absolutely would not be shocked if Tito Ortiz was in it.
Now you have to reach out to him.
Yeah.
Did a man from Kazakhstan approach you recently?
I don't even know how you would... How could you do Borat today? Well, people probably don't remember it anymore. Because that was like almost a decade ago, right?
Borat? I want to say it was longer than that, but it's definitely been a while.
It's been a
2006. Long time. So yeah, over a decade ago. Somebody has to remember it. Maybe not.
I remember it. Boomers probably don't remember it.
But like, 15 years is long enough for people to be like, nah, it's not for me. Or no, I never saw it.
Yeah, well, everyone beat the Borat joke to death for like 3 years, and then everyone was like, all right, let's scrub this from our memory.
But also, like, we've just been collectively, like, brain dumbed over the past few years. Like, we all just kind of forgot a bunch of knowledge that was, like, well-known and, like, sort of agreed upon over the past, I want to say, 5 or 6 years. So maybe Borat was also something we all collectively forgot. So this could be new for everyone.
Sacha Baron Cohen was actually at a MAGA rally recently, pretending to be like one of his redneck characters from one of his TV shows that he did, singing like some like anti like race shit, and people were just like vibing to it, like just ironically singing some like made up country that he made. Everyone was like, "Yeah, this is my job."
Just vibing to it.
Just love it. They're vibing to some hate music. Because it was just like it was like hate rhetoric, but it was like behind some nice folky country music.
That's how you get them in,
That's how you draw them in. Oh man, that's all I got. What do you have? Do you have anything? Did you rate?
I gave you all the news I got.
Give us a glaring review of The Last of Us 2. That was in a positive light.
I have not reviewed The Last of Us 2. Personally,
I thought you reviewed it.
I played it.
What game were you like? I don't want to talk.
It
about
was The
this
Last
game.
of Us 2.
Was that game? Yeah.
Because.
Have you changed your mind?
Again, I'm still like a solid, strong 7.
Yeah, I would give it a 7. Definitely not a 1.9. Fucking incels.
Yeah, definitely. I don't even know. Like, yeah, I don't know. Listen, video game number scores.
They review bombed something else
dicey.
recently too. I don't remember what it was.
recently, have they?
It was something big. Yeah, something that big that just recently came out. They gave it like a 1. Like they fucking review bombed the shit out of the game, but I don't remember what it was. What games have come out recently?
I know they were like people were using the critic scores for Ghost of Tsushima as an example of we like good games.
Oh yeah, in favor of The Last of Us, which is, I mean, like, I like Madden over fucking Tenchu. I was like, what are you talking? What are you saying? It's two different, completely different games.
Like, and it's weird because clearly it was. I mean, people use it because it was like literally a month after Last of Us 2 came out. Like, Last of Us 2 came out in June, and this came out in July. And they're both AAA games, and one game is like as straightforward as you can get, and it's both like as straightforward as, you know, fighting the invader fucking power fantasy that video games like do well. And it's the exact opposite of what The Last of Us 2 was in just that very basic concept. There's no, you don't have to think too hard about like women being in a place in a position. You don't have to play as a woman at all. You don't really got to look at them. You can just like run out around and stab Mongols in the neck. You don't have to worry about the fact that haikus didn't exist at that time, or katanas. Like, those things were not there. And Bushido wasn't a thing that was real at the time either. But we can just throw that shit in there and pretend and like just fake the history out to make me feel good is what. And that game's also like a strong 7. It's fine.
The game is for my nostalgia feelings.
But the problem is with the nostalgia feelings, your nostalgia feelings are wrong, because even Kurosawa, who made these movies, fudged up some of those numbers because he thought Westerners didn't give a fuck. And he was right. Turned out we just want to see Japanese people cut people in half. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. We want the mysticism of Japanese culture. That's what this is. I guess that's the ultimate cultural appropriation.
Yes. We do it all the time.
Which is like,
and even then, we're painting. The Japanese are just like Eastern, like imperialists. They're just the Eastern white people.
They made them wizards, and that could talk very well.
Except they took all the wizardry away. Like they gave you stories there that seemed like wizardry, and you climb a mountain and you're like, oh, here's some armor, I guess. There actually is no place. There's no demon here. I just have armor. Cool. And like completely forgot to mention the fact that while they're, you know, stroking the long shaft of the concept of samurai and honor and all that kind of shit, that samurai were actually a ruling class that was like brutally efficient at oppressing the working class.
Oh yeah, that's all they did. That's what they were there
most
for.
Samurai.
That was their only
assholes.
Job. Yeah, they were literally the fucking police of. they're police. They were their fucking. They didn't have BLM because they didn't have the internet back then.
And
which they included in Ghost of Tsushima. There is the internet in Ghost of Tsushima.
And the worst, like, samurai were the cops, but for their own nations. Like, every family had a plot of land that they were cops of, and they all had different laws. Yeah. So, and the laws usually amounted to, yo, I'm gonna come get that rice that you made, and the peasants are like, but I can't eat then, and they're like, well, that sounds like a you problem. And then you come get that rice.
Here's the blicky. Then they brandish the katana on you. They pull up its armor and they brandish the katana.
And like, no one had anything that game had nothing to say about any of that. But you know, if you're here to cut heads off, then it's lit.
Yeah. Maybe they had all that stuff. Like, you know what? Let's get this incel money real quick because we see how upset they are.
And like, the worst they can do is make a game that doesn't talk about anything important and people just like it, which is fine.
Yeah. I still want to play it.
I don't know that anybody review bombed Avengers. Maybe they should have, though. That game is like
maybe
not
okay.
That? Avengers video game. IGN gave it a 6.
I love there's like a fucking 4chan like jihadist group that goes out and they fucking review bomb games.
This is the one with a girl with biceps.
Women could not be strong. What if it is Al-Qaeda this whole time?
That's how they got us?
They're just so upset.
ISIS just moved to 4chan?
They're eroding us
They
from
can never
within.
be defeated?
They can never be defeated. We're fighting an ideology here.
Oh,
okay?
It makes sense.
Women can't drive. Like, this is crazy. Women can't fight. They can't drive.
How they didn't get in the car to drive? How do they fight?
How
they
do
can't even
lift
drive
weights?
to the fight.
Yeah.
I don't know that anything got. I thought that was the last. I mean, that's not true. There's probably been an indie game that got review bombed straight to hell because that's actually the easiest way to do it.
I should have messaged you two about it.
Kingdom of Amalur Reckoning got remastered by anyone who cares about that. I say that people like that game a lot.
Yeah.
Also, Kurt Schilling owns that company or owns that publisher.
You say people. Name 2 people, Jarrett, who like that game.
Everyone at like video game websites 10 years ago.
Are they alive anymore?
I mean, half of them probably aren't even
sure?
working in games right now. They're probably like, let me go, I don't know, be a publisher or like make coffee or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Shouts out to coffee. Holding us down.
I haven't. I mean, I've reviewed games, but they're all boring games and no one wants to talk about. I'm playing Avengers. That game's goofy.
Is it a fighting game or is
it's
it like
Destiny with Avengers, but less shooting. So every character like plays differently, but it's kind of like a beat 'em up, but like not as fun as like God of War or Devil May Cry. And the loot is like not as rewarding or interesting as Destiny. So
not worth buying.
I wouldn't say so. This is one of those games that in like a year it'll probably be lit. But I'm an idiot and bought it when it launched. So
there you go. Well, you're an idiot. You're a gamer.
I guess I'll come back to that when it's good.
Get GameFly. See if they have it on GameFly.
Shout out to GameFly, which is still around.
Yeah.
Also, not shout out to Redbox, who fucking nuked their game renting situation like in January and fucked up the whole vibe because they realized they were getting ripped off.
Yeah. It's too late.
Fuck them. How dare you save money?
Fuck them. Those goofy bitches. Well, that's all I got for y'all today. Jarrett, follow Jarrett at Jarrett John. By the way, John is not his last name. I don't know how to convey that to anyone else. The fighters always call you Jarrett John, even though I put green in the. It's not Jarrett John. Change your name. That's what it comes
I'm never gonna do that.
You change your Twitter name like every week. It's different. Different aliases.
I'm probably gonna change it tonight. I don't know yet. Whenever the vibes are feeling, I'm gonna burst into one of your fucking interviews like Stone Cold and be like, "My name is not John."
God. And you're gonna sweet chin me and then start the interview yourself.
And then the fighter's gonna be like, "I didn't say your name was John."
I said Jarrett Green.
And I'm like, "Oh, I wasn't sure. I was making sure."
Yeah. Yes. Follow that long-winded explanation for Jarrett John. JARRETTJAWN. Follow me at High Functioning Stupid. I am not spelling that out. Look it up, and if you don't, oh well. But follow Catchweight Update, CATCHWEIGHT on Instagram, on YouTube. I'd rather you subscribe on YouTube. We got some shit coming up. I'm trying to get some interviews going. I have a couple, and one of them's super high quality, but we're waiting on the person to get a fight, and I don't want to name them out right now. But we got like a camera crew, and it was really nice. I might release a teaser for it. I don't know. IDK, as the children say, in the streets.
In the streets.
What else? In the streets. I learned it in the ghetto. Yeah, that's just about that. That's it. That's all I got. Peace, love, and gap, y'all. I'll see you later. Au revoir. Arrivederci. Bon voyage. We're doing Izzy and Costa, right?
Yes.
We're doing Izzy and Costa, so you will see us then, unless you want to do it. I'll do whenever you ask, so, I mean, if you want to do more or not. But I think that's the big one. I want to have some people over for that as well, too. Because fuck the COVID. We're the Sea Gangs. We're the Sea Gangs out here. You know what I'm saying? No bloods here.
We're pro-COVID here.
We're pro-COVID. This is a pro-COVID podcast.
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck
We're here
everything
to
we
prove
said
that Tito
earlier.
Ortiz...
That make you think
this
otherwise.
isn't fake. all the COVID truthers out there, this shit's real, dog. We're spreading it.
Super spreader.
To your kids. That was my name
Contact
in college.
trace me, bitch.
Super spreader. That's what I'll say to the government. Contact trace me, bitch. Bitch ass. Love y'all. See you later. Au revoir, arrivederci, bon voyage. Have a nice trip. Yes, sirski.